For this task, we're going to make an IC circuit, IC boards for the NAND and the NOR gate. So we will call the 7400 and the 7400. First, we will make the NAND gate or the 7400. So first, we need to add some pins or the input pins. There are two input pins and then an output pin. Okay, change the orientation to east. And then gates, add the NAND gate. For the NAND gate, we will change it to south, the orientation to south. And then the number of pins, 2. So we need to connect it. And then the output. So as you can see in this schematic, a single IC board has a four NAND gates. So we need 4 NAND gates. Now, then for the other side, first we need to name each pins. So following this schematic, there is the 7th and the 14th. So both of those pins were used to power the IC board. But since we use the logism, those two inputs were disregarded because it was. We need to skip 7 and 14. This is the 8. So the next one, we will then make a following the same steps. We just need to we will now test both of these gates. So first we need to change the name. Now we're going to test both of the IC boards. This is the NAND and this is the NOR. Okay. So using this truth table, we can now test it. So we need to have the input, 2 inputs, and then an output. So as you can see in this truth table, if both the inputs were 0, the output must be 1. This is the NAND gate. And then if we change the first input, the second input into 1, still the output is 1. Then change the first input to 1, still the output is 1. But if both the inputs were 1, the output must be 0. So for the NOR gate, this truth table, if both the input is 0, the output is 1. And if the first input is 1, the output is 0. When the second input is 1, the output is also 0. And if both of the inputs were 1, still both 0. Thank you. But if we now have another input or new source, new input, so we can just connect the first output of the IC gates. So we need to connect it into the second input, and then we need to have a third input pin. So as you can see here, the output of the first logic gate is connected into another NAND gate. But and then we also add another new source for it, so we can test it here, and then the output and change it to east. Okay, so connect that into our output. So as you can see, since and this is using this truth table, since the one, if both the input were 1 and in the NAND gate, if both of the input were 1, the output is 0. But if we change the even the first input to 0, the output is 1. But since, and then if both 1 and 0, now moving to the next logic gate. So since the output of the first logic gate is 1, and then the third input in our second logic gate, or the second input in our second logic gate is 0, using this truth table, if the input 1, if the first input is 1 and the second input is 0, the output must be 1. So with that said, we can say that this logic gate is functional. That's all. Thank you.